What's up, Nation? Really appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Law Nation, L-A-W Nation. Really appreciate you all. Want to be able to talk about this. Want to say this. Was Kellen Moore offense problematic? Was it an offense that we had issues with as it relates to the other coaching staff? My thing is, of course, we can talk a little bit about the third down plays, of course, or when we got into the money zone, green zone, red zone, and we can talk a little bit about philosophy. Talking about philosophies in these aspects, man. Shout out to you, Steven. Shout out to you, Lenovo 85. Shout out to you, Steven, as well. Roscoe, really appreciate you. But I want to say this. There was a interview earlier this morning, and as the room fill up, really appreciate you all. But the interview earlier this morning was Brian Broaddus talking to 105.3 The Fan, and it went like this. And this is not me reaching or anything. This is just me giving you guys my opinions of the matter, and hopefully I can find that clip and put it out there to the universe so you guys can see it. But he was talking about Scott Linehan having the ability to get called up by the dare I say the what is it, LSU team, and in that process of that interview, they reached out to Brian Broaddus, or they kind of like wanted to get a feel of Brian Broaddus of how Scott Linehan is, or what have you, and that's when he spilled the beans, or what have you. And remember, he don't work for the Dallas Cowboys anymore, or he don't work for DallasCowboys.com anymore, so he can speak freely. And he said pretty much that Jason Garrett, I repeat, Jason Garrett, kind of got in the way of Scott Linehan. And he felt that Scott Linehan, without Jason Garrett, would have been a better offensive coordinator. Now, it made me go back to the crevices and the thoughts of my mind, and not trying to sully or denigrate Jason Garrett, but I'm just trying to put out the facts, if you guys can understand what I'm saying. Remember, there was news and noise out there, Jason Garrett sullying the waters with Wade Phillips, meaning that he wasn't calling the right plays as relates to the defense, as relates to the offense, because we already know that the defensive side of the ball is what Wade Phillips is known for, right? He just needed a troop or a soldier to be able to call the right offensive plays. We had the weapons. We had every piece of the weapons out there, right? So what I'm trying to say is that, we knew, and I do know that people are going to say this, Law. They're going to say this. Law, hold on, man. Hold on. It was just Kellen Moore calling plays against subpar teams. It was Kellen Moore calling plays against the Giants, calling plays against the Redskins, calling plays against Miami Dolphins. You know, Jason Garrett had nothing to do with the downward spiral of what Kellen Moore was calling out there. Now, us with natural eyes, when we look at the tape, we can say to ourselves, man, they're not involving the young phenom, Tony Pollard. They're not doing motions before the snap anymore. They're trying to do a whole different scheme. What I'm trying to get to is that what if Jason Garrett saw all of that spotlight and all of that shine being poured upon Kellen Moore and said, no, I got to have my fingerprints in it. Although I don't call the game-to-game plays during the game, but I dog for sure going to do the installments, and we're going to do what we do best. It's not about doing the analytics sides of it. It's not about doing this and not about doing that. So I go back to what I was saying earlier when I first started off this conversation. Was Kellen Moore offense problematic? Was the problem, did it have to do everything with Kellen Moore calling the plays, not being able to put the team in the right position? I want to know, man. I just want to be able to put that out there. Because the staple piece of being predictable, or the predictability, was always leveled and displayed with the Jason Garrett administration. Was Scott Linehan the person that's always having that predictability? So I just want to know, man. I'm not trying to put Jason Garrett under the bridge and trying to kick him out and these sort of things, but I'm just trying to figure this out. Cowboys went 3-0 before Jason Garrett took over. I feel what you're saying. I want to know, do you guys feel the same thing? Who is Garrett? Hey, Reggie, yeah. And I do know, as Cowboys fans, we got to move on from this topic. But it's quite funny that LSU, you say, a team that just won the national championship, a team that displayed a great level of creativity, a great level of sitting there saying, hey, we're going to put the best product out there, and we're going to make sure that the college level, they're going to have to bend to our likings, they have to bend to our ruling. Shout out to you, Natasha. It's crazy to me that they reached out to Scott Linehan, who is bland as vanilla coffee. You see what I'm saying? Who is bland as just rice with no sugar and salt. They reached out to him and they said, we would want you to help out with the schemes. We want you to help out with the installment aspect of it. It's weird. It's weird. And I always say this, not everybody's lying on you, right? Now, we did see some fingerprints of Jason Garrett in this particular offense last season. Of course, we see those same fingerprints 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's weird to me that Mike McCarthy sat back in his high chair probably. He looked around and he said, you know what? Keep the young phenom, keep Kellen Moore, because I don't see any problems. I see no fault in this particular guy. I see nothing more than a person that's improving each and every year. How many times 8-8? Yes, Bill Bates says McCarthy knows. And this is not us trying to elevate McCarthy to the point where he got to walk into this thing without a spot or blemish, right? McCarthy sat back during his offseason, where during this time frame that he's been off or what have you, he said, yes, towards the latter part of my career with Green Bay Packer land, is that I've been too predictable. I've been too, everybody knew what I was going to do. But I've seen Mike McCarthy take a guy, the belly and the little legs, well, he had big old legs, Eddie Lacy, to run for 1,250 something yards. I can only imagine, if I can close my eyes and say to myself, man, if he took Pillsbury Doughboy Eddie Lacy, bowling ball with legs, what have you, if he got him to get 1,200 yards and we barely squeezed 1,300 out of Ezekiel Elliott last season, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a field day with Mike McCarthy with Ezekiel Elliott, knowing that he got those type of weapons. And if you add into the fact, that you got Tony Pollard. Junebug, what's good with you, bro? We will see Kellen Moore take the talent. Really appreciate you for the donation, Junebug, man, really do. But I can close my eyes and imagine if Mike McCarthy was able to get number 88 on their particular team with the Green Bay Packers. I forgot the kid name. I just knew he wore number 88. He took a wide receiver and said, you know what? I'm going to be creative enough to put him at a running back situation. And he was able to get that brother some yards. What was that kid name? Help me out. He wore number 88 for the Green Bay Packers. Yes, Montgomery, right? That was his name? Was it Ty Montgomery or something like that? So if we can close our eyes and however they utilize Ty Montgomery, I'm quite sure that he's going to figure out that will be the way how I'm going to use Tony Pollard and sprinkle the other situations in whatever other running back we have, and on top of that, Ezekiel Elliott. He got traded because he ran a kickoff return out of, yeah, I think he got traded for something. But I do like the fact if you mess up, they get rid of you. Whatever he did, Ty Montgomery, what have you, it makes us think about this whole entire situation. And if we look back at it and we say, man, McCarthy is going to do his thing. And another thing that I want to talk about is this right here. We're not going to talk about it. I'm tired of whatever you turn on the TV, we talk about this thing called franchise tag and what the salary cap is and this and that. I can't wait. Boy, I can't wait for this draft to come around and this combine to come around so we can get some fresh news out there, because I'm not finna talk about it. I'm not finna talk about who deserved to get paid that and who deserved to get paid this and these sort of things. All I can say is that the speculation for the nation, I think that this offense, if we even keep the same guys that we had last season, mine is a Jason Witten, because we already know the brother just got long in the tooth. But if we keep the same energy, I love Cobb, although his contract is in a. Here's the thing. Here's my assessments on this. I think that the Dez Bryant hype stuff for right now, and the Randall Cobb, all of those older wide receivers, we may not see anything until after the draft. Until after the draft, we will start to play and start looking at some of those older wide receivers. Of course, if you look at the numbers, Cobb had his best season since 2014. And it's one of those things where we can say to ourselves, okay, this offense is going to be totally different. This will be a second year with Kellen Moore. I think that the young kid is creative enough to figure out ways to also be more freely this year opposed to what he was last season. Because one thing that I'm going to say again is that not everybody is lying on you. You see, Cobb can still play. This is for Bill Bates. Yes, I think the boy can still ball, but they're having the issues with finding out how much money they're going to pay Cobb and what they're going to sign him for. I'm quite sure you don't sign him for a 1 year's contract. I'm quite sure that they're going to bring in Tavon Austin. You can call him Tavion. That's what I call him. And me and Jerry Wayne call him Tavion. So it's a situation where they're going to look at everybody and they're going to say, okay, who can we get young? Who can we get that played on this team before? And then on top of that, how can we implement our new philosophy and our new system? And I'm going to say this, and can Randall Cobb fit into this particular system or what we're trying to do? And 9 times out of 10, he can. But first, before they do this, they would like to test the free agent market, and they may also want to look at this draft pool to see if they can get, some longer situations with that. But I believe it's Cobb versus Tavion. Let me know in the comment box, who would you prefer to have? Can't say both of them because I don't think that they keep both of them. Dez retired. Hopefully we can keep Shannon Jarwin. Yes. I want Jarwin. This is from somebody who's with Shannon Jarwin and Blake Jarwin, right? Cobb easily. Okay. What else we have here? Pay Dak 33. Look, I'm not talking about Dak no more. Let's put a cease and desist order on Dak Prescott. I'm tired of talking about Dak. Dak got on my nerves now. You know what I'm saying? I love the kid, but I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about Dak. Come on, D-Jack. No. He's too injury prone. I want Dez and Cobb. And I think that if Dez keep up what he's doing, and he's trying to mend those broken relationship tools that he have with Stephen Jones, and he continue to do that, one thing about the Joneses, they love money. You can't say that they don't. And they looking at all of these 88 jerseys being sold and these sort of things. They're going to look at it like, okay, we're going to look at this thing. And then after the draft, if Dez Bryant's still doing his thing out there, then we would go back and we would say, okay, all right, we'll bring Dez in for a cup of coffee. And also with Randall Cobb. They might let your boy T.A. go. Big Tay go. They might let him go. All right, this is my brother right here. This the guy that knows it, man. Jay, what's good with you, man? He says, Law, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Dez is done. This is from my guy Jay. Hey, Jay, I know you know, man, but Jerry Wayne loved to sell things, though. You know how that thing go. and I would like to see this. We love to see those tapes of what Dez Bryant is doing against air. I would like for D-Rob, always open, to maybe get on the phone, call one of the Karamati brothers and tell him to come on out And so that we can see Dez against Cromartie, although he's old too, long in the tooth. But we would like to see some one-on-ones. We would like to see Dez go up against one by twos. Maybe that would change our opinions too on those routes. We want to see some Chuck at the line. I want to see those things before I sink my teeth into the Dez Bryant conversation again. Because anybody can look good against air, you see. But I would like to see it against, I agree, I would like to see Desmond Bryant against the one-on-ones, against somebody, a prominent person, not somebody they pick up from Carter High, shout out to Carter High, or not somebody they pick up from Waxahachie or something, who says, do some sharp cutting. Yeah, Dez would be more productive than Witten. This is Davis. I agree. How about put the Cowboys universe, put Dez against me? This is how about them Cowboys universe. He said, put them against you. Well, if you can lock Dez down, I hope you can. 50-50 ball. Yes. Shout out to you, Robert Lee. Here's the thing, though, Cowboy Nation. I want to go back to this conversation at hand. Here are the things, I say this every year, because we're going to keep it, objectively speaking, fair and balanced, okay? The areas of improvement for me. I don't know about you all. You can take it or run from it, but I'm going to say it. The areas of improvement for me from the offensive coordinator. When, and I'm going to say this, when to call running plays. Feed the hot hand. That's number two. Or number one is when to call the running plays. Number two, feed the hot hand. Number three, he need to work on red zone efficiency plays. I don't want to see reverse sweeps. I don't want to see those trickery plays when it gets to the 30-yard line. We don't want to see that. Those are the top three things that we want to see improvement from the young phenom as it relates to offensive play calling. Those are my three things that I want to see improve from Kellen Moore. I'm gonna repeat. Number one, know when to call running plays. I think that last season, it could be that it was Jason Garrett, but I'm gonna throw in this thing. Know when to call running plays. Number two, feed the hot hand, meaning that if you see Ezekiel Elliott running 5.9 yards a carry, if you see Ezekiel Elliott getting 6 yards, if you see Ezekiel Elliott not getting those type of run actions and he's only getting 1 yard, or if you're only getting 2 or what have you per average, then you abandon that. Number three would be this right here, Cowboy Nation, that I want to see from Kellen Moore. The third thing is call better plays in the red zone. Outside of that, Kellen Moore can roll out the same offense that he did last season. Flat out, he can do the same exact calls that he did last season. Oh yeah, number four, if we can figure out if Kellen Moore, if when they calling all of those bull sugar calls, I'm gonna keep it PG-13, if they calling all those bull sugar calls, I want Kellen Moore to walk over there to their official and say, hey man, come on man. They holding my tight end, you see. Or look out for this person. They doing this against this particular wide receiver. Hey, my wide receiver at the top of his route, he got to get physical if they still got cloth, you see. I want an official versus the coach on the sideline conversation. I don't want our coach just to be sitting there thinking about what just happened. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. It's time out for clapping on the sideline, and we glad that that's gone. But we don't have this docile mentality. No, we hold these officials accountable, and we get in their face. And if we have to spit when we talk, at least that spit contact will land on them, and they be sitting there like, man, this boy is spitting at me. Let me make sure I call this play right. All right, so let me see what else. I'm going to break down what I want to see out of this offense, out of Kellen Moore. We're going to talk about the defense on another episode. I got about four more minutes with you all. Dak Prescott, I got to talk about this. Okay, when Dak Prescott for the first 3.5 years, when we was talking about Dak Prescott, what we wanted to see him improve on, his footwork, his progressions. Also, we wanted to see Dak Prescott make better decisions. We wanted to see Dak Prescott make touches on the ball, just climb the pockets and step up through the pocket. Yes, we wanted to see that. But for this 5th year, because they're going to have him back, what I want to see Dak Prescott work on and improve on, fade balls. When we get to the money zone, green zone, fade routes, we want to see more of that. We also want to see him, because he did protect the ball and he stepped up through his pocket better, and the offense collectively played better than they did the previous year. Because he had like 57, 56 sacks. Now, this previous year, he only had 22, 23 sacks, meaning that he got the ball out with a quicker delivery. He went through his progressions a little bit better. So what we want to do is add those things that he did better with in 2019 and transfer some of these things to 2020, meaning that better fade ball, better decisions as it relates to the red zone, and then the opportunity, if when he get paid, if it's time for you to tuck that ball and run and get the first down, do it. But still keep your eyes down the field and hit your receivers. Ball placement been an issue. A lot of times the ball been behind a few wide receivers, and he didn't lead a lot of wide receivers. I think that those things, if you look at it, those things can be fixable. I do know that people say, well, a quarterback cannot improve on his accuracy. Bullshit. Quarterbacks can improve on their accuracy. But that's a story of a different day. Those are the things that I want Dak Prescott to improve on. Also, with the wide receiver play, we talk about drop balls a lot, right? We talk about Amari Cooper and his situation, which when you look at his collective stats, and I do know the stats don't tell the full story, only half of the story. But when we look at the stat factor, he did play a more efficient game last season opposed to the half of the season that he came on to the Cowboys. However, if there's treatment that needs to be done, if there's something that needs to be done as it relates to his overall mindset, as it relates to football, we want to see those improvements with this particular offense, meaning that a full off-season training camp, if he can stay healthy. And on top of that, we need him to play better on the road, against prominent, I guess, dare I say, DBs, and I think that can happen. But I'm going to talk about this other young kid who stepped it up. He had 1,000 yards. We talk about those drops all the time with Amari Cooper. But don't you guys know who had 13 drops for the season? Matched his number. Gallup is my guy, Pat, 1984, but he had 13 drops. Let that sink into your mental. That's a lot of drops. Now, the reason why drops are not an official NFL stat, because they are subjective, meaning that, hey, if the ball too high, and he try to reach out for it, that still count towards his drops or what have you. Or if the ball is just too far behind him and he had to reach all the way around, that count as a drop because his finger touched the ball or what have you. But for 13 balls, that's a lot, regardless of how you look at it. So if Gallup can win his 50-50 balls a little bit more, if Gallup can be used and utilized a lot more as the primary receiver opposed to being a secondary receiver, because this particular offense for the last 3 or 4 years or what have you, I know it's only the second year, been an offense type that's been primarily dominant for the X receiver. So if we can have Gallup to just improve in small margins, and hopefully if he can stay healthy, baby, we have a dynamic wide receiver to showcase there. And on top of that, for Cobb, if they do decide to keep Cobb, if he can continue to keep that same energy, we would look for him to have less drops as well. Remember this, I think 3 interceptions came from Dak Prescott at the last minute, trying to establish that type of relationship with Cobb, and the ball bouncing off his body or the ball being tipped in the air and it's being picked off. So we need to have a better chemistry, and that's why I would say I would lean towards, hey, find a way to keep Cobb. And on top of that, remember in pivotal moments and pivotal situations, Dak Prescott scrambling, and the person that was out there on the field, his name was Tavon Austin. I think that the Cowboys would be better if they get a tall, physical wide receiver. That's why when I did the mock draft, I had the Pittman kid at the 5th round draft pick. Hey, if we can't find Pittman in the draft, this wide receiver class is really loaded. You see, I think that Colin Johnson's, I think that's how you say that man's last name, for Texas. I think he's 6'6", wide receiver that's tall, got a great area of target. I think that he will be well, because you can play him inside and out as well. So look up him as well, Cowboy Nation. I think the offensive line, they improved themselves. I think that this offseason, when you look at Connor Williams, hopefully he can still be on the regimen of drinking his milk and doing his push-ups and these sort of things to get a little bit stronger, and we'll see a better Connor Williams. But that's pretty much all what I have on the offense. Jarwin, I think that the Cowboys may go back and reach into their pockets and sign him as well. But that's the story of a different day. Cowboy Nation, that's all the time that I have for this beautiful day. I just been so slammed with work, so that's why I'm so late with my post. Normally I post this thing early in the morning. But let's continue to grind, Cowboy Nation. Hit that like button, share this content, let that friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboy Sports Talk. Shout out to all of the mods and thank those who support this nation with their remunerations. Really appreciate you all. Yes, indeed. Reggie, Rue, don't forget to put down where you guys are from. I love seeing that. When I pull up the chat log and I see where you guys are from. I love seeing that. Jay, I'm going to read your comment, man. This team has to solidify the that left guard position. You said they had or they have to? Let me see what you're saying. Jay, has to. Okay. I think we be okay, you know. The brother just need to do some more push-ups and eat that, drink a whole bunch of milk, maybe some hamburgers and some French fries. Shout out to NC. Yes, San Antonio. Yes. Really appreciate you. Philly in the house, man. Shout out to you, man. That's what I'm talking about, representing Cowboy Nation out there in Philly. Yes. Is it Marquis? La Marquis? Texas. Go Cowboys, skeptical fan. Really appreciate you. Yeah, let's go Cowboy Nation. That's all the time that we have for this beautiful day. Yes, Devon, he needs some milk. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go. Washington, D.C., Pat 1984 in the house. That's what I'm talking about. All the way from the D.C. area. Natasha, Tennessee. Y'all already know. Peace. DC for life.